check, check. What up? Spiritual experience. You know the deal. We are back. Positive shit. Pop, pop. Man, I love dub music. Already. Getting ourselves in the groove. That's it. We're back, man. We're trying to stay positive. You know, sometimes it's not, you don't even have to really try that hard. You know, sometimes you got to, sometimes I have to look for negative. Let me shut off the speaker. Thank you guys for all your support on all podcast platforms. Apple, Spotify, whatever. We're making it happen. Putzing around, poking around. Yeah, it's, I've had an interesting week. I've had an interesting life. I'm checking in on you guys, see how yous are doing. I just came out of the water a little while ago. I went swimming today, Sunday. I've been going on a regular basis. Work is okay. Family's all right. The less I'm involved, the better. And I'm fortunate enough that, they don't really need my help all the time, except for me to just work and, maybe pay for shit and then laugh a little bit here and there, whatever. Throw a few things in the crock pot. It's nice. It's nice that, not everybody's, I don't feel like everybody's so dependent on me. When I used to like hunt for that. Like, who can I put in my orbit? I was talking about this today at a meeting. I'm drinking this, what do they call these things? Sparkling ice. The zero sugar with vitamins and antioxidants. Black raspberry. No NAACP or whatever. But it's good stuff. And I've been trying to behave today because, I went off the rails a little bit. And, it's funny. Like, you can have, 2 or 3, maybe 4 meals of debauchery that will undo, 2 weeks in the fucking gym, which is crazy. So I'm back on the joint. I'm trying to be cool about it. And that's it. So, yeah, what was I saying? I don't know, saying something. Again, with the memory lapses. Oh, yeah, that I was just sharing about this at the meeting. So I went in the water today, and it was very nice spiritual experience in that fucking Coney Island water with some of my polar bear brethren, brothers, sisters, bears. And after that, I went to Greenwood Men's. And that was nice, and it was a good meeting, and I nominated my boy Ike to speak, and he fucking blew it up, and it was nice. And we were talking about different things. Meetings are incredible. Community itself is incredible. And I've been chewing on this maybe for the last week or so, because I have all of these experiences in my life, and I have all these relationships in my life that are deep, meaningful relationships. People that I've known for a long time, or people who have what the fuck is this thing? No. So people either A, who I've known for a long time, or B, that have that are in the same boat as me. So when you're part of a community, they, we're just like, listen, we're trying to get to the solution to our problems as thoroughly as we can. As quickly as, I wouldn't say quick is not really a thing, but as thorough as we can. So when I have a tendency to talk to people in deep, meaningful ways if you are not in our community, even though everybody's welcome. And it's kind of like, I wouldn't say like oversharing, but I've lost the ability to, or I shouldn't say lost. I'm having problems finding the ability to make like bullshit freaking small talk. Like really just like bullshit small talk. Like I'm just like, you know, I don't know what to say on a very like surface level. Sometimes that's why sometimes I just be quiet. Like, dude, yeah, I don't want to talk about that or whatever. You know, I don't want to make a surface comment or response to what somebody's talking about. You know, because I don't know how to I don't know how to communicate really on that level anymore. I don't even think I ever did, you know? I don't think I ever did. But I definitely, over time, have learned that I feel like it's a waste of my time, which means it's probably a good skill for me to have that I don't have yet. And that's what I should do, is I should invest some time into like, you know, hey, how's the whatevers, you know? I don't know. So it's cool. And anyway, so I had that experience, and I'm going to try and keep working on it. I guess making friends outside of AA and NA, you know, that I can just be like regular friends. I don't even know what regular friends do. I only know what like fucking, you know, recovery people do, which is like, you know, talk about how crazy we are and how much help we need, and then get that help and then go out and help other people. Yeah, I don't know how to not live like that. And maybe it makes me a little bit, I wouldn't say like standoffish. An example is like, you know, I was talking to a lady today who I'm very fond of. I like her. She's a nice lady, you know. And we're talking about, you know, kids going to college, this, that, or whatever, just regular bullshit stuff. And, you know, it's like, listen, yeah, my son went to this school. My son went to SVA, School of Visual Arts. And it was an expensive school. And I know because I'm still paying. I pay his student loan. Now, in my mind, I believe that that's part of my responsibility, you know? And, yeah, that, you know, he went to school for something very specific. And, yeah, that's just the way that I am. I'm sorry if that ruffles any feathers, you know? I brought him into this world. That means I'm responsible for him, which is why I didn't go out and make fucking a gazillion babies. Because I can't make them if I can't afford to fucking pay for them. Now, it doesn't mean I have to support him his whole life or whatever, but he didn't ask to be here, so he's dependent on me. But there are stipulations. And the stipulations are, I will not pay for you to go to college to go take bong hits and do some other shit and not really go for something very specific where you can actually have a career and a life and make money. If you are not ready to do that, you can come work for our business for, you know, whatever we can afford to pay you. I can teach you how to do some other stuff, you know, until you figure it out. So that means that you don't have to be able to, you don't need to figure it out at 18, you know. I don't believe in that, you know. So I'm not like 18, you better get out, you know. But you also can't be fucking around doing bullshit. You need to either be on your way or on your way. So, you know, that's what I believe in. So if he was just going to go and say, yeah, I'm going to get a degree in liberal arts, yeah, I ain't paying for that. You know, I'll pay you do this or that or whatever. Anyway, so I'm talking with this lady. She said she's a few years away from sending her kids to college. Because my little one, she wants to go to a nice school also. But again, it's for something very specific. I'm sure it's going to cost a bunch of money. And we're going to have to figure it out. And that's fucking it. you know. Now, so point of the story is, and we're talking, we're going back and forth, whatever, you know, and the lady's nice. And I told her, I was like, yeah, my, my kid made it into a summer program at Pratt and whatever, and she got a scholarship, which means I don't have to pay, which is nice because it was like $8,000. You know, she was like, "Oh my God, yeah, $8,000's a lot of money." I was like, "Yeah," I said, "but you're right," and I would have had to figure it out. But I would have figured it out because it's part of it's what I believe is my responsibility. Anyway, so and then we were talking about because she said like her ex-boyfriend or whatever taught at SVA. I was going to take a guess on who the guy is because I only know one guy, and I don't even know him. I just know him peripherally, like very peripherally. Like we're both two planets orbiting in the same solar system, and we have a lot of mutual friends, but we do not know each other. And he was instrumental in helping my son. So I didn't want to guess the wrong guy and really look like an idiot. So I just like, yeah, whatever. She's like, yeah, my ex, blah, blah, blah. I was like, yeah, all right. I made a joke. I was like, oh, do you want us to go there and throw him a beating? So she's like, no. Yeah, I would never do that anyway. So, but the point was, I was like, dude, yeah, SVA is expensive school. My son got 50% financial aid, and I still had to pay like 20-something thousand a year. I think tuition was like 50, and we got like 25 or something, or 30, and I had to pay whatever I had to pay. I think there's what do we have left? We have like 12 or 13,000 left that I got to pay. And I pay it every month. I think it's like $500 a month or something. I pay. And that's it. And that, and she's like, yeah, I'm not prepared, I'm not, whatever. She's not at that point yet. But I guess what I'm saying is that like just throwing out money, something like that's like substantive, sometimes is off-putting for people. Like, oh, don't talk about money. Don't talk about this. Something. I don't know what else to really talk about, except for like real life stuff. So it's a skill to learn how to wind that down a little bit. I had some lunch with some other friends, who were fucking popping shit about some food things. And I'll get into that maybe. But, yeah. And it was weird for me to be at a table, in a diner. Yeah. And not with like, AA people. Where you can have like, there's no limit to what you can talk about. There's no limit with what you can talk about. Where here, I guess it would be rude to be like, not saying this happened, but rude to be like, yeah, my aunt touched me when I was a fucking kid, that cunt. Like, for people that you just know, that you don't know that well, it would be highly inappropriate maybe to even say that. And I guess what makes it inappropriate is inviting an uncomfortable conversation to happen out in the open on the table. But meanwhile, that's the best investment of my time, is to do that, to have those kind of talks and those kind of ideas going and for help. So, yeah, so I don't, I'm learning how to navigate that a little bit, how to make small talk. Is that the word, small talk? I mean, I can bullshit, that I can do, but making small talk past like a couple of jokes and a few funny stories is, I don't know. It's not really my cup of tea. And then when I run into people who listen to this show, they want to talk about some of the stuff that I talk about here. And I'm like, okay, yeah, I can talk about whatever. A lot of times initially it's a little bit weird because I don't know them. And they're like, oh man, you're the guy with the show, this, that, and the third. And then I'm like, yeah, and then, I'm not going to start, tallying off, aborted babies or something, at the coffee pot at an AA meeting or an NA meeting, whatever. at a meeting. Just start like, yeah, with somebody that I don't know. Now, if we go sit down and have a meal together, we go to a few meetings, like, yeah, I guess whatever. I don't know. Now I think I'm just rambling. But, yeah. So that was a thing. So, it was good to, it was good to kind of just keep my days going one at a time and recognize this kind of stuff that I need to work on. I took my mom out for lunch again yesterday to Rocco's Italian, whatever, in New City up in Rockland. It was really good. And I did the right thing. Is like, I ordered like a sausage and pepper parm, but I just had the sausage, the peppers, and the cheese. I didn't eat the bread. My mom's like, I'm going to take the bread and make a sandwich tomorrow, whatever. And I thought that was cool. But just to be in a position where, I get to spend time with her, a little bit at a time is nice because she's getting old. And I've already spoke to you guys about my fears of them getting old because I don't want to fucking take care of them. Or I have the thought that I don't want to. I know that it's a big responsibility. And that's something that, I impulsively like hide from, which is responsibility. But at the same time, I also know that the same way that I feel that it's a responsibility for me to pay for my kids to go to school, I'm not going to judge somebody else who doesn't fucking do that. Like whatever. Part of me, like my heart breaks a little bit. Like, oh, so you brought a kid into this planet. You told them you're going to have to go to college. Otherwise, you're going to be a fucking loser, which is not true. And I'm not going to pay for it. So I'm like, dude, like that's like a very, how fucking even is that or whatever? It doesn't even seem ethical to do that to somebody else. To put them in a place where like, all right, listen, this is what we're going to do. Now, there's other ways you could do it. You could say, look, how about this? Because this is also another option. You can go to college, and then when you come home, right, we'll take out loans. I'll do whatever. When you come home, you spend another 2 years in the house. You don't have to leave right away or whatever. And you can just take whatever salary that you get from your job and just pay off the whole student loan. And I'll give you extra money here and there for you to live and whatever, but just take every dollar you have and you pay off that loan. Like, that sounds like a good deal to me too. But, I don't know. Everything comes with a stipulation or by the way or whatever. Yeah. So at the same time that I feel responsible for my kids, do I need to really look at how responsible I feel towards my parents? I'd want for them to go to like some kind of old age home or whatever where they can just really be like out of sight, out of mind. But then I also have these nightmares that, somebody attacks them or something. And I think about them, like think about my helpless mom, and somebody's like, whatever. Just like, the people who work in those places, they're not very nice. And not all of them. Or there is abuse that happens in those places. But meanwhile, there's abuse like that happens in the home when you take another person into your house. It's not always easy to be nice and to be civil and to really step up and be an understanding person when you have somebody with mental and emotional difficulties because they're getting older in life. And I'm not talking about the bullshit like, oh, I'm going to wipe your ass and clean the couch when you fucking piss and shit on it. I'm just saying they're forgetful. Where are you all the time? Like, they're going to require some attention. So I honestly don't know how I'm going to handle that. I don't know how I'm going to handle that. But, I guess that's part of my thing is I'm going to have to figure that out. And I'm happy I'm not going to have to figure that out on my own. I'm also very blessed and grateful that my parents have really been financially responsible where, there's probably going to be more options than if they were not financially responsible. You know, there's more options for how we're supposed to do that. And how do we do that without judgment? Like, how do I do that without, like, you know, I had to graduate to get to this level where I can even, like, be around them without all these resentments and hangups that have been, like, plaguing me my whole existence. You know, the resentments I have against, you know, my dad. Just listen, I could run down a litany of them, of all the things he did wrong, because here I am, the great sheriff. I'm the fucking scorekeeper. I'm like, yeah, he didn't do this, he didn't do that, he didn't do this, he didn't do that, or he did this and did that. And then I'm asking myself, well, what is the what's my part in all of that stuff, or even that analysis? Because the analysis sometimes is I'm looking for ways for me to be a fucking victim, you know, so that way I can be angry or be mad about something, or use that victimhood as an excuse for the reason why I behave the way that I do in different instances, right? And that's a very, it's manufacturing trauma, I think. I think that's what it is. And I can't tell, you know, is this even supposed to bother me? You know, because if it doesn't bother me, is it even supposed to? Or somebody going to be like, you know, like a therapist or somebody who will talk you into a traumatic feeling because there's been perceived as a traumatic event that, that maybe, I don't know, that maybe wasn't that traumatic. Maybe that's what it is. Look, my mom, and she's one of the best human beings I know, but she's also a human. You want parents, but you get humans, right? So my mom, with all of her limitations, all of her human limitations that we all have, right? When my son was born 3 months before my 16th birthday. I can't even imagine what that must have been like for them. My parents are there working, killing themselves, doing their things. Their son is out there drinking, drugging, whoring, you know, slinging bit, and, you know, just doing whatever, being a crazy young teenage boy. And, you know, it's funny. You know, there was a side tangent. Like, I saw a meme where the meme said that, like, you know, some millennial kind of kid or whatever, or Gen Zer was like, oh, it must have been so boring in the 90s with no internet, you know? And then somebody's response was, which was very apropos, said that, yeah, because at nighttime, they would have to make an announcement before the news. It's 10 o'clock. Do you know where your children are? Yeah, because we would be out there making our own fun, not being bored. Anyway, my idea was fun. Fun was like abandoned buildings, loose women, and or sometimes not loose, like whatever, just the whole thing. So anyway, I make this baby, and you know, my mom, I don't know, she was just so devastated. Like, she was just like, hey, listen, like, she just basically made pretend like the baby didn't exist. Like, my son I didn't have one, you know, for a few years. And she never saw my son, none of that stuff. Because I guess maybe it was a traumatic event for her. I don't know, maybe ego deflation, maybe tough love. And it's weird because we come from a family where people make babies all over the fucking place. Like, crazy. Like, we make babies everywhere. Nobody gives a shit, you know? We're out there fucking shooting up the club. So maybe my mom was like, oh, you know, I'm here killing myself, trying to do the right thing, set a good example. And then my son is out there doing the same shit that his cousins in the fucking South Bronx who don't have what we have are doing. Like, so what, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know, maybe that's the conversation she had with herself. I know she also told me that, like, you know, later in life, that she was just like, you know, I didn't want to be here babysitting your kid while you're out there running around in the street. So I just made the whole thing not an option. And I'm sure she's had to learn how to live with what she did. Because let me tell you something. If my mom was like one of those regular, Puerto Rican abuelas that watched the babies, I don't know how many more babies I would have maybe had, and I don't know, it worked. It worked. And I got my stuff together, and I was, I had a little bit of success, even though it was ill-begotten gains, but I found a way to make money. I found a way to support my kid. I found a way to get custody of my kid. I did all this shit, all on fucking ego and resentment and whatever. So what I'm saying is that, like, looking back, is that like a traumatic event that, like, some therapist could have been like, oh, the time that you needed your mom the most, she abandoned you. Then I start feeling like, oh man, like what I think an abandoned person is supposed to feel like an orphaned or like something crazy, And then, after some evolution later on, I'm like, I didn't feel like that at all. So I'm not going to go and then take a shit pie and start lathering myself in it and eating it like, yeah, you know what? My mom did abandon me. Like fucking in a way that it didn't happen. Now, it doesn't mean that didn't happen. I don't know if you want to call it abandoned or some other thing, but it was something. And I look at it like she did the best she could and she did the right thing in hindsight, similar to the conversations I have with my son now. Not now, like recently, but periodically, like he knows why I took him from his mom. And look, I was fully addicted when I took him. But like I had an idea of that was not the same idea as his mom. And, whatever, minds work, obviously. And he turned out to be a beautiful human and an incredible boy. And I raised him, I raised him in the rooms of recovery with some of the principles that I learned that I didn't even have, but I learned and I gave them to him. And he has them. And he got a lot of them before me. He got a lot of them before me. He didn't have that much to unwind, He's not, he doesn't have that drug addict, alcoholic mind. He has his own things that he needs to deal with because he's a human being like everybody else. So, yeah, but he doesn't have that stuff. And it's funny because the other day he was texting me. He was like, because some, I guess, let me make sure I have this thing right. I love this boy. Let me tell you, I have the best fucking kid. He's everything to me. And we were texting last night about the boxing Shakur shit. That was crazy. Anyway, what did he say? He says, he asked me, this is on Thursday, he says, how often are you humbled by someone else that knows their shit or is better than you? Which is it's a good question. It's a substantive question for your son to ask you, which is nice. That means it's like, oh, we're going to have a fucking sit down. We're going to have a little session. Right? So that, and I said, it happens. I said, I put myself in situations all the time with people who are better than me. And I do it with humility. That way they don't talk down to me, LOL. Right? Which is the truth. I try to put myself in situations where there are people who are better at stuff than I am. That way I can get better. Because one of my defects of character, and I was talking about this at the meeting, is that like I would sometimes put myself in situations or with people, partners or not, that I felt like they needed me in some kind of way. And really it's just so I could abuse them. That's what I was doing. I was like going in for, call it like the dented can. I was going in the dented can aisle and doing that. And then if I have a dented can, then I would yell at it for fucking being dented, which is stupid. And it's actually not even stupid. it's fucking wrong. It's fucking wrong. You know, my first sponsor, Andy, he used to be like, oh, yeah, you know, if you go out there, you get a stray dog, you can't get mad when it pees on the rug because that's what stray dogs do, you know. And, yeah, it doesn't mean strays are bad, but strays are strays. Either way. So that's what so I'm happy he texted me that. So I said, whatever. I said, that way they don't talk down to me because I do put myself in those positions with humility. And he put true, good perspective. I said, it's been a long while that someone did that to me, meaning talk down to me. And I probably deserved it. But if you're humble, they won't treat you that way. He says, I did, and this is what his response was. I did a role play selling a Mac. He works at Apple, selling a MacBook with one of my managers. He's been with Apple and owned businesses over the last 25 years, drives a Ferrari and shit. I'm only ever intimidated by you, and I know whatever I set my mind to, I exceed, but he humbled me for sure. We had a good dialogue because I'm good at what I do in my life, and it's very rare when I'm in these scenarios. So I told him selling is a skill. And Ferraris mean nothing, LOL. And he was like, true. I said, how did he humble you? I said, guys with Ferraris, they need MacBooks also. And if you ever want to practice some sales stuff, I can help. Which is nice. And then that was the end, because he's not, Then I start to obsess about how I can help him, be a better salesperson, and he'll just be like a wizard, and he just doesn't really call me or ask me for that kind of help, which is cool because I only know how to sell. I know how to do sales. I know how to actually sell things, and I know how to do sales. Do sales as making sales happen, which is just a mathematical equation of however many people you speak to, even if you just go up to them and say, give me $1. If you go up to, 1,000 people versus 100, the math is in your favor that you'll get the $1, So I know that's how to sell. And, and sales skills, I have some of them, but I don't even use them. I'm too fucking lazy. I use them all the way, for the wrong reasons. I don't even like to, honestly, I don't even like to play those mental manipulation, masturbations with people. So I just don't do it really. But anyway, so that was nice. But, yeah, going back to what I was saying before, being able to have these substantive conversations with him and with anybody else is how I live my life. I do my best not to recreate trauma. Even though the lady who was pointing that one thing out to me, like, oh, the abandonment thing. And she's like, yeah, maybe that's why you treated some of these women the way that you did, which was not nice. And I said, I don't know if it's whether it's a direct line to that or an indirect line. It doesn't even matter, actually. Because the truth is, I just need to fucking stop. No matter what. No matter how I got there, I just need to stop. Like, it doesn't matter why. I can learn, like, dude, this action, wherever it came from, is the action of a dirtbag. And if you don't want to be a dirtbag, you just do this other thing. And then by doing the other thing, you will get the, what do you call it? You'll get the right principle of being a good human being, and then you will actually be a good human being. And then when you go back to revert to do the other dirtbag shit, then you know that you're a fucking dirtbag. It's just about your attitudes and your behaviors is what it's really about. And then over time, I guess, like, you can unwind some of it and be like, listen, I actually feel better, even though it's very self-serving to do the right thing. It is, but at least it's self-serve. I'm serving two people, somebody else and myself, instead of normally me just serving myself when I'm being, driven by ego, megalomaniac, whatever, that I'm the most important person there is. And, without all the help that I get. You know, who I am is a culmination of everybody else's love, and most importantly, everybody else's patience and forgiveness that's in my life. And I need to, and the best thing that I can do is give that to somebody else. Give them patience, love, forgiveness. My cousin, he was helping me paint the inside of my house, and he did some fucking mop and glow kind of shit on my wood floors. And I was like, dude, that's just going to leave residue. He's like, no, it fucking is not. I'm like, all right. And it did. You know, we go up there, now the floors look all streaky and whatever, and he feels bad. And I'm like, dude, don't feel bad, man. You were trying to help me. I'm going to fix it, but you were trying to help me. I could have stopped you at any moment, but I was like, nah, maybe not. But I even though in the back of my mind I thought that it would, and it's okay, you know. And I have to stop him from apologizing 100 times, and then he wants to drive over there and fix it. I'm like, no, dude, it's okay, man. You know, you weren't trying to hurt me. Just like my mom, she wasn't trying to hurt me. You know, she was just trying to do the best she could. She was trying to love me the way that she could. You know, putting the principle of me being self-sufficient above that, you know, that idea of her taking care of her baby boy who just had a baby boy. It's a hard choice to make. So when I take her out for food, she can get whatever she wants. Yo, she got like eggplant parm with pasta. It was good red sauce. Bro, they came out with like 4 garlic knots that were like the size of fucking like tennis balls. They were huge. You know? Yeah. They were like size of baseballs maybe. They were huge and they were fucking incredible. They were like fried and they had like a little bit of salt and garlic on the outside. It was crazy. I'm telling you, I was going to slap myself in the face. That's how good it was. So that, and then at the end, she's like, oh, she asked the guy, she's asking me, oh, you want to get dessert? And I'm like, no, I can't. I didn't want to tell her, like, dude, I've been off the fucking rails for a couple of days, you know, with the food stuff. But, yeah. So she got, that's the speaker because I'm going to play something. But she got the, what do you call it, the tartufo or something like that, whatever it is. It's like the ball of fucking ice cream with the shell of you know, the Hershey shit on the outside. Chocolate, again, with the fucking vaccine. And, yeah, and I had like whipped cream, and she was just like, you want to share it? I said, I can't. And I just let her eat it because I had those 2 garlic knots. And I was like, fuck, bro. You know? Yeah. I got to see her happy, and I take pictures, and I send them to my cousins. And I don't harbor resentment. I try to make up for all the time that I wasted, you know? But is it really a waste if it led me to the point where I realized that I need to spend more time with her, even if it's taking her out for all her fucking cheat meals and all this shit, you know? During the week, I went and I got from, where was I? Oh, I was in Long Island, and there was a place that had like these fucking wings. And I went and I got these wings, you know. And then what happened was that I wish they were a little bit better cooked. But at the same time, they were pretty good. And it came with, you know, it came with blue cheese or whatever, that kind of stuff. And I loved it. I haven't really just sat down and had wings like that. And what do I tell myself? First off, they sell you like 6 wings or something. I don't know, for like $11. I don't know what it was. $9 or something. I don't know, for like 6 wings, whatever. And I tell myself, well, if I don't eat all the wings, then I guess I'm doing okay. But, you know, I have my new homegirl. She, and I posted I make these videos and there's music, and because I love food, if you can't tell by now. And my homegirl was like popping shit because I used fucking blue cheese on the wings. Like if she was like, oh, no, ranch is better. And I was like, what? This is the same homegirl. Yeah, whatever. I'm not going to name her. I'll make you famous, Teresa. That was like, that she was trying to tell me that bread and butter pickles are better than fucking kosher dill, which is disgusting. Bread and butter pickles are disgusting. I only like kosher dill pickles. So she, when I made the video, she was like, "Oh, you need to put ranch instead of that blue cheese. You make fucking, making good choices in your life." I was like, "Bitch." And then I had a good response, which is what I'm going to play right now. And because it's a Rogan clip. She's like, "Oh, I'm not going to listen to Rogan." I was like, "Oh, yeah. Well, that's why you're making the fucking decisions you're making between the ranch and the bread and butter. You fucking got 3 demerits." So I'm going to play this, and then we're out of here.
I was going off yesterday. I was saying how Joey Diaz would get mad about ketchup. Because
everybody wants to
come up with this fucking Heinz ketchup.
Or ranch. Have you ever heard him talk about ranch?
I fucking hate ranch. I don't know how the fuck people could eat that shit. I don't know how people could eat ranch. Like when I go to a place and I say, you have wings, and they say it comes with ranch, I get up and leave, even if I don't get the wings. Because if you're going to serve wings with ranch, I don't want to do business with you.
Exactly.
I don't want to do business with you. I'm very easy. I'm very fucking easy.
So
if you fuck up pork fried rice, what do we got to talk about?
Wings must be done with blue cheese?
Blue cheese, yeah, like the way they invented in Buffalo, New York. If you're going to do something original, do it original. You're going to show up with that ranch that smells like somebody's ass. You ever smell
They're saying
fucking
that
ranch?
ranch is starting to replace ketchup.
Yeah, that's good. If you're a fucking hillbilly and you want to taste the ass in your mouth all fucking day. I hate that fucking ranch shit. Don't put it close to me. Don't put it around me. It's either blue cheese with wings or go fuck your mother. That's the next shirt, all right, please.
That's exactly how I feel. All right. I love you guys. We'll see you on the flip side. Don't forget, like and subscribe. All podcast platforms, Apple, Spotify, Google, everywhere. Share, even if it's going to piss somebody off. And, love everybody. Love yourself. Peace. We want to thank you all for joining us today. And please don't forget to like and subscribe on all podcast platforms. And find us on Facebook where you can become part of our family. We'll see you around.